Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. With you. Happy Monday, everybody. I guess I should say Happy Easter Monday. I think that's what people say sometimes. It's the day after Easter. And we are here. And so glad that you have tuned in to WHPR, WHBS to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. And my co-host is...
Thabiti, and I welcome you to the program.
All right. I want to start by saying good morning to some folks. Good morning to Jay, way on the east side, and good morning to Shirley, way on the west side. And good morning to Rosa and Ron and Vera and Katrina and Al and Harry and so many. And Kurt, where are you? Haven't heard from you in a while. And also to Velma and Thelma as well. You know, it's so much stuff that goes on, and the Easter weekend that people were celebrating was a nice weekend. Really a nice weekend. I need to say good morning to Preston, too, and Katrina, and Michelle. Who you want to say good morning to?
Shout outs to Sister Andrea and Brother Fred, Shane, Ruth, Jackie, also Cheryl, and my family. And your family. And also I want to ask you to have your family, friends, relatives, neighbors, co-workers to tune in also. We have a variety of platforms you can reach us on: Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Google Television, etc., as well as, I believe, Channel 15.
15.2, that's right. When you got rabbit ears, you can still watch us right here on Feedback. And I can't forget to say good morning to Clementine and to Girlie and to Gladys as well.
And Brother Professor Griggs.
Right. He tunes in. He should call in. But anyway, there's just been so much that has been going on. And, I don't understand about the young people who were out for a spring break and I guess saved up their money or got it from parents, grandparents, jobs, whatever, and went to Florida, and they were on the beach acting in a very, not just unprofessional, a very disrespectful manner, and just wreaking havoc on things in Florida. As young folk would say, what's up with that?
One of the things, their music promotes wild behavior. I've come to understand even more, partially because I'm on the fringes of it in terms of I like some of the music, but certainly the behavior. And by the way, I just want to let everyone know, at the bottom of your screen, you see the call-in numbers. So if you have pen and paper, which I demonstrate again here in my hands, write those down, put them in your contacts as permanent numbers, and then you can participate in our show and other shows that come on WHPR.
That's right.
But yeah, their music is definitely influencing the behavior. And one of the things I took note of, I guess I've seen it, but I just didn't pay attention to it. But all of this crazy drifting, driving, I noticed that Dodge has commercials on television where they actually show individuals in these Chargers, Challengers, and Hemis doing the same thing that they're doing on the street. So the televisions are certainly no help in terms of curbing that behavior. They encourage it.
You mean those little tricks they do in the cars?
The donuts and stuff. Yeah, they do that on the commercials trying to promote the vehicles.
Oh, Lord. Last thing we need. I was watching one of the news shows, and the chief of police was saying that more of these vehicles are going to be confiscated. I guess previously they were just giving out tickets. So now they're going to start taking more of the vehicles. And when a person has put a lot of money, an inordinate amount of money, in his vehicle or her vehicle to what they used to call soup it up. I don't know, probably got a new slang term today. But they used to soup up the vehicles. That's what they called it at that time. And it gets to be expensive. But because they care so much for their vehicles, they put whatever amount is called for. But if the chief of police is now announcing that they're going to confiscate more and more of the vehicles, somebody's going to have to stop and think, well, wait now, do I want to put all this money in my ride? Do I want to stay out of this this mix, because it's not going to be pretty. It's not. Somewhere down the line, somebody was talking about how much they had paid. This didn't have anything to do with racing, but their car had been towed, and when they went to get it, the cost was $75 a day, plus, I don't know, $250 or something. Maybe that's to tow it to the yard, and you don't know if any damage is going to be done to your vehicle in the process of towing it, because our streets still have potholes, they still have problems, and if a tow truck is dragging the car behind, then the back bumper might find itself on the side of the road somewhere. But there's a lot to consider when you are thinking about drag racing. And drag racing has been in existence for a long time. And it just seems to me that there should be a movement or a collective group who would go before council and the chief of police, whomever, the mayor, whoever, wherever and whenever, because we have land in the city of Detroit that could be used for that, and they could go out and do their willies or their donuts or whatever.
They actually had set up something within the last year or so where they had an area that would allow people who just wanted to get the experience of the racing thing together. But there are people who are always going to just whatever street is available, because I was part of the culture in the mid-'70s when we would go by, and many of you may know, particularly the fellows, infamously the White Castle over on Livernois and Warren. That was our spot.
Yes.
But it was always late at night, so it wasn't just like 7 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon.
Right.
It was controlled. And, we had fun. I didn't have a car that could run fast, but it looked good anyway. So now it's like wherever you're at, when I ride down the street, certain streets, I can just see where there's nothing but tire tracks. And just one of the things I wanted to mention, like when you were mentioning souped up, these cars are coming out of the factory souped up with Hemis. Yeah, they come out with, there's a couple that Dodge makes, the Challenger and the Charger, which they have like 3 or 4 different versions. One's called the Hellcat, and it's got like almost 700 horsepower, which normal horsepower would probably be around 200 or 300 just for your average car, but they come out of the factory ready to run. Yeah, and the car's cost reflects that. They may run in the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range, so it's quite a loss, like you said, to have them confiscate your car. But I guess when you look back from the 50s with the James Deans and the other types who were, rebel without a cause, we got a lot of rebels out there now.
Without any cause or without any sense, let me tell you, it's no fun to roll over in a car. And maybe a couple of months back, one of the family members went to pick up another from work, and on the way to the west side, they were on Grand River. And it was, first I thought it was a mob on Grand River, but it was another setup for racing. And there were as many people standing out on the curbs and the sidewalks and in the way watching as at any parade. And so they said, wow, what is going on? They had to turn down a side street to kind of avoid all of the gatherings and craziness that was taking place. But what is interesting to me is there's not a lot of reporting, if you will, when someone gets hurt. And there have been a few people who have been killed at these gatherings.
Absolutely.
Right. So, it just seems that perhaps if there was a more publicity of the dangers of it, and there was one young lady who wanted to take, I guess with her phone or what have you, the cars coming at her, towards her. And it wasn't good enough to be on the sidewalk. She was in the street, and she got hit. But just not realizing the speed at which the vehicles were actually traveling.
There's that thought among, I'd say, late teens on up until like maybe the early 30s, who have this fearless attitude, and they don't really see their lives in a future sense. Those who gather in those kind of events, they don't see their lives in a future sense. They may be working at some, let's just say, average or mediocre job, so they don't have any ambition. So death doesn't, they don't fear death. And when you mentioned over on Grand River, I happened a couple of years ago, I remember being on Grand River right there at Oakland near the railroad tracks. And, there was cars lined up on both sides of the street, and you had individuals, young individuals, and I was able to get down the street, fortunately. But what they do, which is hard for the police to control, is that they gather on social media, Facebook, Instagram or something, say, yeah, we're going to meet at such and such a place, and then they just go hit that spot. So that's how they're able to collect and gather so quickly and disperse just as quickly once the police show up. But if they can get away, that is. But yeah, they do that, and this has been spontaneous in a lot of events, whether it's a party at a certain place, they put it on social media, and then all of a sudden you just get throngs of people gathering at that site.
Oh, wow.
That's what makes it hard for law enforcement.
Oh, man, I tell you. We there's some other things we wish they would do that are positive and with such speed. Oh boy, I know that there are times when people are getting cabin fever now with the pandemic that we have going on. But do you think that there is more of the racing now than before the pandemic?
I'd say yes, because when everything was more restricted, it was completely restricted then. So now when they try to moderate what's going on and say, well, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll let you out, in percentages. We only allow so many percentage of people in this venue or that venue. So the people who have been cooped up, they've been raring to go. I believe it's within the last week they had and I guess it was the largest amount of flyers in terms of airlines and going here and there that they've had since March or sometime last year. And this is just one of the signs that people who have been pent up now they're just throwing caution to the wind and say, let's go. Now, Dr. Fauci also did say that people who have had both vaccines should feel free to go. But there are people who haven't had anything, and they just feel they want to be free anyway. And that's why Michigan's numbers are surging again.
But it was said somewhere too that just because you've had the vaccination doesn't mean that you should stop wearing your mask or stop washing your hands, etc. Because you perhaps could still pass it on to someone else. So
yeah, that's true. They've said that, but I don't know. I've tried to study and examine just culture in general, and one of the things I noted that particularly the American culture, they've been so free, or we've been so free, but some have been freer, obviously, that they just feel like nobody can tell them what to do. And there's a certain spoiled brat behavior that I've noticed. That's what I feel about it anyway. They're just like spoiled brats. They feel like, well, nobody's going to tell me this and that. And certainly the last person who I just say Mr. Trump because I never thought of him as a president. He's just another guy, but he promoted that kind of behavior. I'm going to do what I want to do, and his flock of 70-some million felt the same way. So I just sum it up by just saying that I feel like particularly the American culture, even as opposed to European, has felt like they're entitled to do whatever they want to do, and nobody's going to tell me not to do it. And this is where we run into our problems.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think he deserves the title of Mr., but
I agree.
He put out there that bully attitude. So between spoiled brat and bully attitude, we have some very serious issues now. And I think on January the 6th, we had a lot of the bully attitude. And here in the state of Michigan, it was reported that many of the participants in the January 6th attack on the Capitol were from Michigan. So at the end of the attack, they were really just allowed to go free. They all should have been locked up and given the test to find out if they had the virus or not. But being allowed to go free meant that they came back to Michigan. And I tend to think that has some to do with the increase of cases that have been reported here. And I was so disappointed because this month we were going to do a caravan again. People seem to enjoy that. It's a safe way to have an outing. It was a lot of fun when we did the Black History Tour on February the 27th. And then to hear the governor talk about, was it 7,000 or 8,000 additional cases? That's a big number. Not 50, not 75, but 1,000 or two.
Yeah, we're number one in the nation for that higher percentage. That's not that's a dubious note to make anyway. Who wants to be number one and having the worst statistics?
That's the truth. Ooh. And another thing that I find interesting is that it's called a pandemic. Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned plague, which is what it is? It's a plague that has gripped the whole world by the throat. A plague.
Yeah, I was looking at the History Channel. I was sharing this to those of you who are viewing and listening. I was sharing this with you on the way in that the History Channel had a story about plagues. They went back to the Bible and the plagues that they had there. They dealt with the one in Mexico where Cortez came in, and the infections, the diseases they brought to the Mexicans wiped out, like in the islands in particular, the Arawak Indians. It just basically wiped out that whole culture and that whole population. And they spoke about the Spanish flu. So it was very interesting, and I like what you say, it's a plague. I think they try to use the term pandemic in terms of its spread, but like you were saying, souped up, we changed the terms, but it's the same thing.
Right. What is that? Same old soup warmed over. It's just widely known that you talk about people who brought diseases to another group, a community of people who did not experience that. When the Europeans were coming over here on their ships, they brought rats. America didn't have rats. And they have been welcomed in. Now they're all over the place.
It's kind of and a lot of people, like I say, there's things that's just makes me curious. So when I studied the Dark Ages, which started around the 6th, 7th century, and it lasted up until about the 14th century roughly, and then this is when you came into the Renaissance period and all that in Europe. But during that time, and it's been noted that in Africa we built obviously monuments that are still standing the test of time, and in Europe there was such a barbaric nature that they were building something called kitchen middens. Now what that was basically was pyramids of filth. So they didn't have the great sanitary conditions and such. So this is what allowed them to have the bubonic plague and other things that came about. And this is what increased the rats. The rats were actually, I believe it was 13, if I recall, it was 1319 or something like that when or 1317 when the bubonic plague hit Europe, and it killed, they believe, between 50 million and 200 million people during that time. And they showed pictures that were drawn by artists, and you could just see large pustules forming on their body, and they did indicate, as you said, Theo, the rats. So there were but they didn't have sanitary conditions, which is what allowed all of these diseases to just proliferate as they did.
Oh, that is so true.
And then here, you had people who live with nature. They had systems of, just like in Africa, they had systems where they lived with nature. They knew how to live with nature and to dispose of things, so they didn't have any diseases. But one of the things, I'll just kind of summarize on this. One of the things about Europe is that, just like here in Michigan, we have 4 seasons, and in the coldest season, winter, we don't have any vegetation growing. So they had to eat whatever was available, and what would have been available would have been raw meat, because they still hadn't been quite civilized at that time. So this is what led to some of the savagery and the diseases. And our wonderful, and I want to say he is wonderful, he's great too, engineer Tim has indicated that we are up on our first break.
All right. Well, we're going to stop for a few commercials, and we will be back momentarily.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is RJ Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you. Because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Finally, I just got my COVID-19 vaccine.
I registered with my local health department and they called me.
I got mine at the pharmacy and my neighbor got hers from the hospital.
I'm not a techie person, so I called the COVID hotline and they helped me schedule an appointment.
Get vaccinated with the first vaccine you can. Protect us all.
Learn more at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust.
Stay safe. Go.
Your community.
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Pain. In the best and the worst times.
Ma'am, stop. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi. Officer Luna, Officer Luna.
Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Oh, I like that commercial. Oh, I got it.
She does.
Anyway, you know, And there's a lot of information that goes on, and you came across some information that you wanted to share with us.
And many of you know that we've had Beverly Kendall Walker and Keith Hines on as our guests, whether call-in or in studio, and we're always pushing Benjamin Davis Aerospace, which meets every Tuesday, I believe, at the Coleman Young International Airport.
That's correct.
And so I wanted to give you a little background on Benjamin Davis, senior and junior. I'll give you information on Benjamin Davis, senior and junior, and I'm going to read a passage from a Black History book.
Okay.
Okay. Benjamin Oliver Davis, senior and junior. U.S. Army and Air Force generals. Benjamin Davis, Sr. was denied admission to West Point, but served as a lieutenant in the Spanish-American War, then enlisted in the famous 9th Cavalry in 1899. In 1901, he became a second lieutenant, but even as he rose in rank, the War Department kept him from postings where he might command white units or outrank white officers. In 1915, he was sent to historically black Wilberforce University to teach military science. Other race-related billets included leading a National Guard unit in Harlem and serving as Army attaché in Liberia. In spite of racial prejudice, Davis was appointed the first black brigadier general in the U.S. Army in 1940. He remained the only African-American U.S. general during World War II. Unlike his father, Benjamin O. Davis Jr. was able to enter West Point in 1932, but was shunned by most of his fellow cadets. Nevertheless, he graduated 35th in his class of 276, but was denied a commission in the Army Air Corps, being assigned instead to the infantry. In 1941, U.S. entry into World War II gave him the opportunity to pilot military aircraft. He led the all-black 99th Pursuit Squadron, Tuskegee Airmen, in Tunisia and Italy, and the 332nd Fighter Group. In 1954, Benjamin Davis Jr. became the first African-American general in the Air Force. He retired in 1970 with 3 stars. This is for you, Keith Hines and Beverly Kendall Walker, and those of you who just love black history.
Wow. He should have retired with 5 stars and being a 5-star general. But of course, we know there's always that block because of our skin color. Unfortunately, that's what we are dealing with over and over again, and it's always proven over and over again how wonderful our people are, how accomplished they are. When you think about the red tails, that's what they call them for some reason, and the whites wanted to be led by them and escorted by them, and yet all this hatred still exists, you know?
I look at it as jealousy of what they aren't and what we are, because if we were inferior, there'd be no need to hold us back. Our inferiority will hold us back. But when you try to oppress someone, that's just so that they don't make you look bad. And I've kind of just tried to study this, I guess, from a sociological point of view, that their fear of our potential, and maybe it dates back, maybe it's something in the subconscious, because when they look at what we did in Africa, whether you look at Songhai, Janae, Timbuktu, as well as Egypt, the Sudan, Ethiopia, all of the things that we accomplished mathematically, scientifically, philosophically, religiously, all the things we accomplished, I guess I would have a little fear too of the competition. How we gonna run with them?
That's a good point. It's a very good point. You know, I just wondered if that was one of the reasons why the school, Benjamin Davis Aerospace School, was dismantled, because of the jealousy. But you know, Bob Law, the great Bob Law, godfather of talk, says white people don't hate you because you're black. White people hate you because they are white. And so when you think about the kind of accomplishments, remember Is it Katherine Johnson?
Yes.
Oh man, Hidden Figures, Katherine Johnson, and I don't know why I can remember her name and forget his. He was getting ready to go to the moon.
Glenn.
Oh goodness, John Glenn. Yes, he told the folks at the command center, "Wait a minute, where's that colored girl? I'm not leaving here unless you get that colored girl." That's what they called them back then, and she has to put together all the figures, or I'm not going. So, of course, they hurried up and got Katherine Johnson.
You know, and the beautiful thing about this, and you mentioned something else last week that ties right into it. Here you have a Caucasian, John Glenn, requesting specifically someone who's African American as then color. And then but you mentioned last week how when people were coming into the stores, they said, "We want the real McCoy."
Right.
So they know.
Oh yes. That points out, yeah, they're jealous. The media's just so jealous, and it is sad because our people generally have always worked willingly. They've always wanted to collaborate. They've wanted to and have welcomed in other nationalities and shown them. Just think about it. Who crossed over the Alps on elephants?
Genius.
That's right. And had he not crossed over the Alps on elephants, the Italians wouldn't have curly hair and olive skin. But anyway, that's another story. To take folks out of the, what they call it, the Dark Ages, and taught them so much. Jeez.
Well, we taught them a lot, but morality we couldn't teach. That would have had to been something that would have been from nature, because we were communal people. When you look at the Native American communal people, they stayed in a community. They may have warred among other tribes, but they stayed within a community. And as I had said earlier before break, just from my studies, when you're dealing with the cold nature of winter in Europe, it's a dog-eat-dog world, because there's no vegetation, nothing you can eat at all. So everything you eat has to be basically meat, and you have to go out and scavenge for meat. And you weren't really eating meat that was necessarily cooked either.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why there's a tendency towards wanting a little blood in their meat.
Rare.
Rare. I can't do it, but I understand the lineage where it's been something that's happened from generationally among Europeans, so it's a natural thing. Now, not all, of course, but there are some. I have people in my family who have a percentage of Caucasian blood, and as all of us do, really, and some of them happen to like their meat with a little blood running out of it. I can't fathom that, It's either cooked or it ain't cooked.
Right. Oh man, that is something.
But like you said, we were welcoming people.
And in England today, they don't have a lot of farming going on, right?
No.
So they are having to reach out to other areas in Europe, in the world, etc., to bring in the kind of food items that they can have in their grocery stores, whatever they are. But they also have an interesting culture when it comes to eating. It's like one item at a time when they sit down for dinner. I've noticed that. I'm like, they may have, say, a muffin. That's the only thing on the plate in front of them, a muffin, Or they may go from a muffin to some kind of brief salad. That's the only thing on the plate in front of them. But it's a different cultural way of eating, And of course, they have their tea, I guess, what is it, twice a day?
Some crumpets.
Yeah, and some crumpets, yes. But the different cultures around the world are very interesting. They really are very interesting. And then when you move in and talk about this country and the foodstuffs it produces and the kind of food items that have to be harvested but cannot be harvested by machines. And when that happens, they have to have people who will do it by hand for less. And that's how we end up with the residents or citizens or south of the United States borders, because they are willing to come into the United States during the harvest season, and it worked for very little. And my understanding is if they make $5,000 for a whole season that they're here, or 2 seasons that they're here, and they send the money back to Mexico, they can live like a king or queen, because the cost of goods and services in that country happen to be a lot less than in this country. And where the lie comes in is when someone says, well, we don't have black people doing the harvesting because they don't want to work, 1, and 2, they don't want to work for lower wages, and neither happens to be the reason why they don't want to do harvesting. It has to do with the fact that the cost of living in this country is a hell of a lot higher than the cost of living south of the United States border. Who do we have calling us?
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Try Keith Hines, Diamond 2 Productions.
Hey.
We the People, Hood Research.
Yes.
Davis Aerospace Technical High School. Advisory Board.
All right. Tuskegee Airmen. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking up there. I said they mentioned my name.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah, when I turned to the page and saw Benjamin Davis, Sr. and Jr., I said, well, I've got to shout out Brother Keith Hines and Sister Beverly Kendall Walker.
Well, thank you.
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
You're certainly welcome.
Yeah, the aviation industry, thank you.
Now, the avionics is being taught virtually, or is that something you can teach virtually?
There are very much a whole lot of complications when it comes to teaching, the aviation part,
Right. You need to have
technology.
hands-on experience, right?
Yes, it's a lot better. It's like trying to teach a plumber, how to tighten a pipe over the telephone.
All right.
A challenge.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, but they're afraid of us being too intelligent. Is what it's all about. Because back then when we had the emergency manager, that was just a dry run for the Donald Trump era, and they were able to pull it off. The world didn't get too upset about them taking away our voting rights, all of our assets, stripping us back down to just a bunch of dark-skinned people walking around in the city that we didn't control.
And it's interesting that when Attorney Anthony Adams was filing a lawsuit to get rid of the emergency manager, because the Detroit public school system was really slated to be totally destroyed. And he was successful in his lawsuit stopping a lot of that.
I just want to throw this little quick note out here. I was noticing that since we were speaking about airplanes and aerospace, that Delta, because people are trying to get more into the travel mode, is looking to hire so many more pilots and people involved in the in the airplane industry. So I just want to throw out because they mentioned that over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the aviation industry is larger than the automobile industry, even though you don't hear in conversation anywhere, when you talk about Detroit,
right,
and its comeback. If you drive through the suburbs, once you cross the 8 Mile or up and down 8 Mile, you see buildings that you don't recognize the names, industrial type businesses.
Right.
And a lot of them actually make parts for the aviation industry.
Wow.
So there are a lot of jobs associated with the aviation industry. In Detroit, Davis Aerospace, at the time when I went there back in I graduated in 1973, and there were only 8 schools like that in the entire United States of America.
Oh, wow.
And that was, until they moved it, the only school that had its own runway.
That's incredible.
And to get into the school back when it was called aeromechanics back in the day, you had to have a certain grade point average, and they only took in a certain amount of students every year because it wasn't a large school. So if you got in, you were lucky.
Right. Now, when you were there, would you say that you were one of the only black students in the school?
There were 8 of us.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's kind of like Red Tails in a way. It's kind of like Red Tails in a way.
Right.
There were 8 of us.
Right. And that is so sad.
But the thing about it, though, was all of our other fellow classmates were from all over the country because there were only a few schools like that. You had, I could be sitting next to a kid whose dad owns the airline industry or engineering firm or something. So I picked up a lot that definitely did not come from my community. And I brought it home to my community.
Right. But you know what, Keith, what's so sad about it is the school board did not promote Benjamin Davis Aerospace. They always said we had 5 VOTEC schools, and that was a lie. We had 6. And that was not promoted to encourage our young men and women to attend that school and learn to be pilots or mechanics or what area, what do you call them? What kind of mechanic you call it?
Aviation maintenance technician specializing in avionics.
There you go. That's what you call them. You're right.
That's what you call them.
Yes, and
but you see, aeromechanics back then only had one competitor when it came to grades and graduation rates stuff, and that was Cass Tech. And we actually were beating Cass Tech up until the day they moved aeromechanics or Davis.
Until they moved.
We had a higher graduation rate and a grade point average than Cass Tech.
Oh, wow.
So there was no reason to touch the school.
Right.
No legitimate
reason, yeah. Wow.
Other than the fact that they were afraid of our dark skin getting into it and dominating the industry.
Right. And Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Milburn was saying that over the next 10 years, they're going to need 1 million pilots over the next 10 years.
Pilots, mechanics, all kind of people associated with the aviation industry, because you take a lot of the pilots and the mechanics, they're getting older and they're retiring.
Right.
And a lot of them don't look like us, but that doesn't mean we can't work.
Right.
I mean, we have the skills. If allowed, we have the skills. Let me change that. Because for some reason they want to make sure that we don't. Because if you think about it, back then, we had black emergency manager, black people in administration, city council, and so on and so on. But nobody said no.
They didn't seem to understand, and that's an industry where pilots it can make up to 6 figures.
Right. You graduate out of school. I had to run from recruiters when I graduated. I had the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines,
Wow.
the National Guard. Everybody was chasing me down, wanting me to come on board.
And you know, one of the things I want to make note of, one of the things that's unfortunate is that a lot of times when we go to school, not that they shouldn't have been pushing academics, but everybody is not college bound. So when you look at people who have skills, whether it be aviation mechanics, electricians, plumbers, etc., those are the jobs that you know that you have longevity in, because those services are always needed. But unfortunately, everyone says, yeah, you know, you go to college, you get a good job. It's always been that mantra that's been pushed, and unfortunately too many people have followed that. And as you said, Keith, and we both can agree with this just because of our electrical background, that most people weren't given or I guess encouraged to pursue skilled trades, which we can use up to this day, because once you have a skill like that, it's a lifetime skill. So you know, part of the school system was they weren't promoting or pushing vocational as much as they was pushing academic. And I know, and Keith, you know this as well, that electricians and many skilled trades in general make more money than some of the lawyers, because we're always in demand. I used to look in the phone book when I was younger. No, I take that back. I used to look in the classified ads like News and Free Press when I was younger, and I would see all these listings of lawyers that they would have. And I'm like, okay, these aren't the big boys. These are just guys that's trying to make some money, just put bread on the table, where we didn't have to look. People, as you said, were pursuing us like, yeah, we want to hire you. Well, we want to hire you too. You know, a bidding war. So it was a big change.
But the other thing about that is you're not being educated to get a job all the time. You in the vocational skills are employing other people. You happen to be the business owner with the kind of skills that you have.
Which is,
know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
beautiful.
Yes,
Right,
you do have that option. You can take it to the next level.
Right.
You know, and get your license, your contractor's license, and just keep going.
Right, exactly. But when you are getting the other education to look for a job, the job may or may not hire you. The business may or may not stay alive. Look at Art Van as an example. You know,
yeah, Art Van, they have been around for years. And if you look at too, like with the skills, especially why they're so afraid of the aviation industry. I graduated from high school, being able to do things on the aviation level, FAA. You know, the mechanics and the welders and all the people that work in the auto plants do things based on SAE, the Society of Automotive Engineers. Well, they can't weld an airplane because it won't be accepted. That plane will fall apart and come out the sky. So we're not allowed mistakes or errors. No matter how tiny or minuscule it might be, we weren't allowed it. So I go to take my apprenticeship test to get into electrician, and I was overqualified. I'm taking a welding course because that's standard procedure. I can weld better than my welding instructor. And he's supposed to be teaching me.
Wow.
I can read blueprints better than my teacher that was teaching me.
Right. And you know, when you have those kinds of skills and you can be in business for yourself, that makes you feel accomplished and that you don't have to wait for somebody somewhere in a room behind a desk to decide to, well, we want you to do A, B, and C, you know. You have the opportunity to plan and build for yourself.
I got a PSA I'm going to drop real quick since we're talking about skilled trades.
Yes.
And I'm sure you still get the paper as well as I do, Keith, the Building Tradesman.
Oh, yes, still do.
Because being a tradesman, we just received that, you know, on up until we're no longer on this planet. But if anyone who's listening or viewing, go to bricklayers.org, O-R-G, that's bricklayers.org. Excuse me, I felt that coming. You can make $34, almost $35 an hour. So, and they're training. They were doing that with pipe fitters, but that was back in March. I think it ended March 28th. So now it's thebricklayers.org, $34 an hour. And you can be independent as well. Now, engineer has indicated that, and we are at the top of the hour.
Wow.
Yeah, time
that
is
move. Yeah. Oh, goodness, it's flying.
Time flies.
Yes, it does. Especially when you're having a good, positive conversation. Anyway, you're tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. And we are going to take a break for station identification. We will be back momentarily.
Finally, I just got my COVID-19 vaccine.
I registered with my local health department and they called me.
I got mine at the pharmacy, and my neighbor got hers from the hospital.
I'm not a techie person, so I called the COVID hotline, and they helped me schedule an appointment.
Get vaccinated with the first vaccine you can. Protect us all.
Learn more at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
Finally, I just got my COVID-19 vaccine.
I registered with my local health department and they called me.
I got mine at the pharmacy, and my neighbor got hers from the hospital.
I'm not a techie person, so I called the COVID hotline, and they helped me schedule an appointment.
Get vaccinated with the first vaccine you can. Protect us all.
Learn more at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Thabiti Mpinda from the Feedback Program. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Hey there, it's me, Butter, with my new book, The Many Adventures of These Nuts. Let's be nuts about our health. Join me and my friends, Wally Walnut, Almond Cruz, Pumpkin Spice, Chica Cheminsky, Morgan Raisin, and Hallie Cranberry, here with rhythm and song to share a fun way to stay safe and healthy. So together we can all be nuts about our health. Ebook available now on Amazon, or get a hardcover copy at www.thesenutstrailmix.com. That's nuts with a Z.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust,
Stay safe. Go.
your community,
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Pain.
in the best and the worst times.
Ma'am, stop. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi. Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Shelley Books and More. Short stories, poetry, and art contests for the youth. Cash prizes, $300 to $500 plus prizes. No entry fee. Go to ShelleyBooksandMore.com. Contact Shelley at 313-778-8009. Submit entries now and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Shelley Books and More. Also, listen to Shelley Books and More every other Tuesday, 4 p.m. on FM 88.1 WHPR. Radio we can see.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park.
WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. We are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. I want to let you know also that each Saturday we invite you for an afternoon with Hood Research. Hood Research will be on from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. And as Brother James Ford calls it, a phone cast. There's a telecast, broadcast, and now a phone cast. Anyway, we're on from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And for those of you who took my co-host, Thabiti, at his word and have pen and paper handy, these are the numbers for joining us on Saturday. 1-978-990-5000. Again, that's 1-978-990-5000. It rings once, and then you put in the secret access code. We have a secret access code, and it's 338-729. You press the pound key and you'll hear us talking. Once again, that's 338-729. Press the pound key and we'll be there waiting for you to join us.
And I just have to encourage you, and we'll repeat, or Theo will repeat that information again, to, if you know, you don't have to be there for the whole 4 hours. You can come in at 2, drop off at 3 and get back in at 5 if you want. But just like the meetings, there's just so much information. Not only does Hood Research provide information, but also we have callers who bring in a lot of information. And so because they're dealing with things that are in the areas that they live that we may not know on the west side, east side, north end, southwest, etc. So it's important for us to network, and I couldn't think of a better area or place to network than to do it on Saturday. And it's a wonderful activity. It's enlightening, it's enriching, and it helps you to become more involved in your community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it works out great. You can mute your phone, put it on speaker, go wash the dishes, go do the laundry. It's like listening to the radio, and only when you're ready to say something, you just unmute it and you have something to say.
That's a good point. I'm glad that you brought that up. And this coming Saturday, we're trying to reach the attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, to talk to us about the laws that have been passed. I mean, they're just so blatantly racist. I mean, to the point where it's silly. If a person is standing in line to vote, and they're obviously thirsty, maybe even hungry, but you give them some nourishment while they're in line, did you know that is against the law of the state of Georgia?
Now it is.
They'd rather have you pass out than have somebody pass out some kind of nutrition or nourishment of some type. And what's interesting, and I'm glad it happened, that even the President of the United States said that it's a Jim Crow Act. So, and generally, president may not necessarily get into what's involved in a state, but he couldn't even hold his tongue. He had to say that this is Jim Crow.
Yeah, it is. And if you're eliminating polling stations, that means the lines that the ones that remain are going to get longer.
Exactly. And that's what is wanted by the racist, I should say that Donald Trump followers. And Donald Trump appears to have become the Pied Piper, or the preacher in Guyana. People followed him, sold a lot of their possessions, and went to Guyana. And when he found that I guess the FBI were knowledgeable of what he was doing, they made a move to go to Guyana. And that was when the whole conversation about Kool-Aid came up, that he served Kool-Aid laced with some drug that actually killed.
Well, this whole Trump regime, it's going to fall, because just of the way it is, and the people aren't like they were back in the old ancient days. Back then when the Dark Ages, people think they were going for witches. They weren't going for witches. They were going for the scientists, the technicians, the engineers, anybody with an imagination that didn't go along with the king.
It's interesting because I was sharing with Theo earlier in our conversation about how I had saw something on the History Channel about plagues. Well, lo and behold, right after that, they had a special on cults. And they were talking about the Branch Davidians, and they were talking about how the personality of the person led people to dismiss anything that would make sense and follow the cult leader, which is why the Branch Davidians, the people who believed that the comet was coming to pick them up, and I think maybe up to 90 of them died, because they were waiting for the comet was supposed to be the signal of something happening. But they mentioned 5 people, which included Jim Jones. So we just add number 6, the Trumpazoids.
Yeah, you might as well. Because you think about where would we be as far as technology goes if the scientists hadn't had to go underground in the Dark Ages.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting.
So there's a lot of documentation, books, and studies that are missing that was never recovered.
Wow. And what else, if you go back even farther, when the Africans had their universities at Timbuktu and others, where they were gathering samples of plants around the world, and they were comparing them and testing them, etc., and the other kinds of samples of things. And once the Europeans, I guess, discovered what was taking place and the kind of knowledge that was being accumulated, they just destroyed it. Just like you were saying, they destroyed that. And the other part about the Sphinx and the pyramids, and that has not been determined yet, how all that was built. It's still a question.
Yeah, with all the technology we have, we're still in our infancy in compared to the ancients. And one of the things I like to make note of as well, since we're speaking of Dark Ages, a lot of the African cultures, particularly those that had universities like Timbuktu, Songhai, Janae, and some of them, they knew how to use, let's just say, the manure from certain animals. In particular, it was crocodiles, because there was something, as we know, that's nutritious depending on the type of food that a particular animal eats. Well, what they were doing in Europe, which is kind of what they do here in America as well, is that they couldn't get crocodile dung, as they call it. So what they were doing is they had counterfeit dung, which was human, and they were selling it as if it were crocodile. Yeah, they were doing that in order to, because it was a hustler's game, right?
Yeah.
You know, even back then it was a hustler's game.
Right.
So
it was for fertilizer?
No, actually, it was supposed to be for medicinal purposes.
Oh.
But you know, they felt like, hey, you know, well, we can't get the real thing. We can't get the real McCoy. Let's say.
Here we go again.
So we got to use some artificial stuff, and the people will believe it anyway.
Yeah, we had a lot of technology back then. You know, the study of the stars, that's black. You know, the irrigation system. Greeks didn't come up with the idea. That's not a Roman thing.
Yeah.
That's Egypt.
Caligula had a perfect irrigation system as well. And he had a problem.
Oh, he had big problems.
And
some of these things we're saying, we invite our viewers and listeners to Google it. Caligula, he was one heck of a guy. I believe he even incestuously was with his sister, but he was just he was about as depraved as they claim.
Yeah.
I think there's a movie.
Yes.
That's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know. I know there's a documentary on it. I didn't know there was a movie too. Wow. And you know, makes you wonder if some of the folks in that culture today had studied him, because they've really gone off the deep end as far as I'm concerned.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes. And you know, a lot of that has spilled over into the musical rap culture, where they just are going in the gutter, really, when you talk about the lyrics of their songs, and they denigrate black women, and the whites love it. So, you know, keep denigrating your own. Don't look towards our young little blonde-haired, blue-eyed bunnies. Just keep doing your own, and that's what this guy called a baby. And the Grammys had the nerve to give him an award, and then the NAACP National. Do you think they've outlived their usefulness?
They need new leadership.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I was one of the old school DJs back in the 70s in the disco days, and when the hip hop started to become more and more popular, well, actually, it was rap and it was gangster rap. They put the two together so that they could make it more acceptable to the public and called it hip hop. Now, the thing is, we would not play the gangster rap, not the decent DJ. We would not play it. Matter of fact, Mojo, if you're out there, give Theo a call, because you're on the same side, because he would say the same thing that I'm saying now. That music, way back then, and we talked about it then, has turned into a disease to now. So we were absolutely right by not wanting to play it back
right.
then. So Mojo, if you're out there, give Theo a call.
Well, you know, it was one thing when the baby was using the N-word, and he was denigrating the women in his songs and talking about going down the block and kill everybody, spray the block, and that doesn't mean water your neighbor's grass. You know, that kind of language in the song. And then on the Grammys, they had him dressed up in all white, leading an orchestra, and orchestra playing the orchestra music. 2 women playing violins, and they displayed him as if there was nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah, we used to take, and they would hire us to do a show, and they would ask us if we had certain records, which of course we did because we were in the record pool. But we didn't want to play certain records in public. We could listen to them at home, so we understood the lyrics and things to them, but we weren't going to play them in front of no decent audience. But they would want us to play that, say some lady wants her son or daughter at their wedding or graduation to dance to a certain song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, we had the record, but what we had to do was we had to put her off all evening. She said, "You going to play that record?" I said, "I'm looking for it." "You got that record?" I said, "I'm still looking for it." Because we know as soon as we put that record on, the crowd is going to change. All the decent, mature people, they're going to pack up and leave.
Oh.
And all you're going to have is a bunch of wild young lunatics jumping up and down with beer bottles in their hands.
There's I've just discovered it over the last week. You may have heard of this rapper. He made himself popular by doing a duet with a country star, but his name is Lil Nas X. And right now he's got a shoe. He uses the Islamic term for Satan. It's called Shaitan. And when you buy his shoe, he says that each shoe will have a drop of human blood in it. Now, we don't know where he's getting the blood from, but he has a video in which he is promoting demonic and satanic things. You see his eyes are, red like you would see in some horror movie and that type of thing. And the shoes have the 666 on there, which we know from scripture is the mark of the beast. But he's very popular. I think he's only he couldn't be more than 23 years old from what I understand. But he's he's not that there's a problem with, he's also homosexual, but that has nothing to do with the fact that he's promoting satanic and demonic things in his video, as well as the 666 on his shoe, and having 1 drop of human blood. And because we have a very gullible, I would say, young generation who follows trends and fads without questioning anything, they just follow it. This is something to be aware of, because he's leading what I would say, I guess in Star Wars terminology, he's leading some of the youth to the dark side. There are those who were interested in pursuing that to begin with, but he's just already kind of thrown open the doors and said, hey, yeah, let's just see what and there was a Church of Satan that was started back when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California.
Right.
Yeah, there was a Church of Satan started there. So there are these subgroups that deal with, animal sacrifice. As a matter of fact, I think that was brought up in one of his songs as well. How they would sacrifice a lamb. In the Bible, they sacrifice a lamb, in honor to God. But now these people sacrifice animals for demonic purposes. So stay tuned. You will hear a little bit more about Lil Nas X, because it's starting to create a little controversy as well.
Isn't he the guy that's dressed all colorful and stuff and everything?
Yeah, he started out in the cowboy thing, but now he's been seen in dresses with wigs on. And I guess this is just part of the character that he's playing. But he's just out there. He's dressed in all kind of, and this is how they get attention, unfortunately. The more bizarre, the better. Lady Gaga came out, like she was dressed in meat one time, but the more bizarre, the more attention you get. It's not to say you got talent, but just because you're outside the box and what you're doing, people just take notice. Just like if I walked around with an egg on my nose, which I've done before in some of my videos just for the heck of it, and people would take note because there's a guy with an egg on his nose, and this might be something that a clown would do in a circus, but I was just being comical about it, but he got attention. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
Then-
And music is one of our most common forms of communication. You know,
and it's
and
being
if we just-
used to denigrate our women. As I have to go back to the Grammys, after they presented the baby as if he was a sweet little choir boy, they went on and showed the women, and the one in particular, Megan Thee Stallion, who received an award, and she came out dressed modestly, and it went downhill from there, and she ended up on some bed, humping like she was a man over this woman that was on with her. It's sick.
It's interesting. I was listening to a repeat of Bob Law last night, and he just used the phrase. He said the weaponization of hip hop, and that's exactly what they're using it as, a weapon.
Well, it is, because if you think about back during the Vietnam War, you know, it was make love, peace, not war, and that went around the world, you know. And you take Marvin Gaye, he took it to the next level when he put the soul in it.
Yeah, and he made beautiful music and made some positive statements as well. But this woman, Megan Thee Stallion, at the end of the Grammy show, talking about she doesn't need a pimp to put her on the street, she can pimp her own stuff. I'm like,
And you know what's interesting about her, what's unfortunate as well, is that, okay, she's out there hustling, she's doing her little thing, but she's close to getting her bachelor's degree, and I think she's supposed to be going to get a master's. That's a good thing. The bad thing is that what she's doing has influenced a lot of these girls, women I see on the street, to get into that same kind of prostitute, slut look, slut behavior, indiscriminate sex, you know, all of that comes out of that. Now, she's pursuing her degree, she'll go on to do something else. But these young girls who are following her ain't thinking college degree.
Right. You take the average entertainer, if they do make it to the top, they're only going to be there 5 to 6 years. So the problem is, what trail do they leave behind? You know, like I can look back, I know I got some good DJs I would run into, or some musicians or entertainers. They would be thanking me, and you know, and I would see them on stage somewhere or run into them in the supermarket. You know, but you got this hip hop rap stuff. When you run into some of their followers, you might be at the penitentiary.
oh yeah, oh my goodness. And then we come a few weeks later with the NAACP giving awards to the same folk. I mean, what's in their heads? Do they wish they could be a part of Sodom and Gomorrah? I mean, it would just
Well, once they gave that award to Kid Rock, it was all over with for me.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah. I mean, how could Detroit do something stupid like that? I mean, was it that much money in it?
Did somebody say to you that the NAACP now represents everybody?
No.
It's supposed to be
They
out
don't
there.
live up to the name. They should take the letters down. But if they take the letters down,
Well, it's not W.E.B. Du Bois NAACP by any measure, or some of the other people who have chaired those positions. Now it's a group that looks for corporate benefactors, more or less. So they have to appeal to the corporate community. So the real community, which is the grassroots people, you know, they're not even involved. And unfortunately, and I just say this in terms of churches and most organizations, unfortunately, the people who are part of the membership don't press their leaders to do something in their interest. What they do is they end up allowing their leaders to do whatever they want to, and so the leaders are misleading, and they don't care because they can say, well, you know, I'm a member of such and such. Being a member of something doesn't mean anything if you don't have a voice.
That's right. Right.
right, you got the last 3 letters, advancement of colored people.
And they're trying to
Why
change
would you
that.
take a Detroit the most valuable piece of real estate in the United States of America, predominantly African American colored people, and turn it over all the control to people who aren't colored.
Absolutely. It is a lack of self-esteem and I guess a few other things. And then just the idea that the NAACP no longer wants to have CP in there for colored people. They want to have it for all people. Can you imagine that? For all people. As if the other people already have their back covered.
Yeah, I guess we've got, in their point of view or their viewpoint, we've got to a point where we're all equal now, so why should we even have the organization, and why should we, not that the Anti-Defamation League and some of them aren't still promoting their interests.
Yeah.
The gay rights people are promoting their interests, but we have to promote everybody's interests.
You're right. Why? Why? That we have to always bend and be accepting and being forgiven when our people are not being accepted or forgiven. And they're catching hell in Minneapolis with the prosecution of the cop that murdered George Floyd. Then in Congress, they're catching hell trying to get the John Lewis bill passed. They're catching hell trying to get the George Floyd bill passed. So, it's ridiculous.
Contributions, sponsors, they control, which is wrong.
Yeah, well, anyway, some things to think about for all of us. And Keith, I want to thank you so much for being with us this morning, because we truly believe in and support the Tuskegee Airmen. And
thank you.
And so I say at the end of our program, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We encourage you to go to the Hood Research Facebook page, website. Follow us on Twitter. That's Hood Research. Follow us on Twitter. And on Saturday, each and every Saturday, especially if you have cabin fever, follow us on Saturday. And it's a phone cast. You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to leave your easy chair, your backyard, or anything. You just pick up the phone and dial 1-978-990-5000. The access code is 338-729. Press the pound key, and we'll be waiting. Davidi.
And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
Well, I guess for me to sign out, I would just like to say that there's another group that doesn't get much attention. It's called the Black Pilots of America. They're also home base right here in Detroit over at the Coleman A. Young International Airport.
Oh, okay. We're going to have
It was founded by my math teacher,
all right,
Gilbert Cargill.
We're going to maybe have him on with us.
Well, no, he isn't with us anymore.
Oh, I see.
He was
okay. Well, we have to have
he was
a
up there in age
representative.
back when I was in the 70s.
I got you. Well, we want to let people know to please join us on Saturday, and then tune in again next Monday morning right here, WHPR, WHBS, for Feedback, a Positive Image production.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey there, it's me, Butter, with my new book, The Many Adventures of These Nuts. Let's be nuts about our health. Join me and my friends, Wally Walnut, Almond Cruz, Pumpkin Spice, Chica Cheminsky, Morgan Raisin, and Hallie Cranberry, here with rhythm and song to share a fun way to stay safe and healthy. So together we can all be nuts about our health. Ebook available now on Amazon, or get a hardcover copy at www.thesenutstrailmix.com. That's nuts with a Z.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.